And good evening, WNBA and women's basketball fans. Wheels up on a Thursday night. Welcome in, folks, to tonight's edition of the WNBA 365 Network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home for everything revolving around the WNBA and the rest of the women's basketball universe. Back with you, folks, this evening. Here tonight on another edition of WNBA 365 for the semifinal round of Rio 2016. Joining folks in the Hangout by Crystal Thomas and Tanisha Stewart, both up in Los Angeles, and Calvin joining you folks here from home base, Studio 171 in San Diego. Shorty and KT, like normal, good to see you guys. How's it going tonight?
Hey, hey. I don't know where Crystal is. Oh, excuse me. There she go. Yeah.
I'm doing good. Didn't think I was going to make it because all these technical problems, but I'm here.
You made it in one piece. That's all that matters. With that, folks, like normal, Facebook, Twitter, and a live chat box. Women free, folks. That does now bring me, though, to an important question of the night that has been posed to you great people on Twitter. So go ahead and vote. You have about 26 minutes and change to get your votes for tonight. The question of the night being, who would you like to see us reach out to for them to make an appearance on the network program? We picked four pretty good ESPN, WNBA, and women's basketball analysts between China Robinson, Rebecca Lobo, Kara Lawson, and Ryan Ruocco. You can vote on Twitter by visiting at WNBA365 and registering your vote on the question of the night on the poll. It's also been linked on our Facebook page too. So of course, again, question of the night again: who would you like to see us reach out to for an appearance on our program, just to share their thoughts for a few minutes? Again, it's LaChina Robinson, Rebecca Lobo, Kara Lawson, or Ryan Ruocco. Again, vote on Twitter by visiting at WNBA365, or of course hit us up on our Twitter handle on the night at WNBA365, at Callamac3, at ShortyMamba24, or at Pup1010 with the hashtag WNBA365, or hit us up over on Facebook at facebook.com/WNBA365. You can also find the link to the poll question over there on our Facebook page, or if you are going to be in the live chat box, folks, hit up that live chat box on the viewing page, and we'll get to your commentary when there's a break in the action. All right, Shorty and Crystal, first and foremost, want to send out real quick. I know, guys, that we've had either two people on here or a spattering of three, but again, folks, in case you're curious, we do have an update actually to give you. Very good update, though, concerning our colleague and friend Marquez Anderson in Louisiana. He has reported in and checked in safe in Louisiana and in the Baton Rouge area. Of course, Marquez starting up school again at LSU, but he is safe and sound in spite of the flooding in the area down there. And also, folks, we should mention too, but to any of our friends that are viewing us up in the Inland Empire here in Southern California with the wildfire burning up there, thoughts and prayers to you folks out there. Obviously, Shorty, I know that I think it kind of hits home a bit more with us, I think, when our friends are stuck in these natural disasters. Again, Marquez Anderson, again, folks, has been off again from the network due to both school, but also, of course, the raging flooding in the Louisiana Baton Rouge area, basically. And I know, Shorty, that I was stuck in a hurricane while I was over in Hawaii. We felt an earthquake while we were off air a few months ago. So I guess, Shorty, this is an instance, though, like I said, though, or kind of in a way, again, Shorty, where, life weighs more or weighs heavier than final scores, wins and losses in the box score, Shorty. So again, good news to report again about Marquez Anderson, but I guess, Shorty, your thoughts, I guess, or if you want to pass along any good word to our friends and family in Louisiana or even up north in the California Inland Empire Valley.
Yeah, most definitely. Hopefully Marquez is okay, wherever he is residing, and hopefully he'll stay, safe.
Yeah, again, Crystal, I know that, we can't predict the future with, how we always say life is short, and you have to cherish every hour, minute, and second you have. But again, we are, again, folks, very glad and very jubilant to report again, but Marquez Anderson is safe in spite of the flooding going on in the Louisiana area. And again, for anyone that may be up in the Inland Empire up north, up to 15, again, hopefully you folks are safe and sound too with the fires. But again, Chris, like I said, sometimes we have to just kind of, sit back and think about, and put in perspective again that, life weighs so much more heavy, weighs so much heavier than coming on here and spending 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours talking about a sport that we love. But at the same time, though, there's more bigger and better things to think about on the horizon. But I guess, Crystal, any good vibes you want to send the way of our friends and family in the Inland Valley or Inland Empire, or even down to our friends and family in Louisiana?
We'll both. I actually have family in Louisiana as well. Thankfully, like Marquez, nothing was really too bad on their part. But everybody who was suffering from the fire and the floods, I hope you guys stay safe out there, and hopefully the flood stops. I think the floods kind of did stop a little bit, but hopefully this fire burns out soon and everybody stays safe. And I hope you guys are okay.
And also, folks, a very heartfelt thank you to the hardest working people in the entire Golden State of California, the California firefighters that are battling this fire up north. And again, to everyone out there again in Louisiana and up the coast from us, up in Northern California, up in the Inland Empire of the Inland Valley, Inland Empire for California again. Please stay safe, and we are with you through thoughts and prayers. All right, guys, let's talk some hoops now. Semi-final matchups today, finishing up today with a off day tomorrow, and then the final two games on Saturday to wrap up Rio 2016 Women's Olympic Basketball. Starting off with the first game today, Spain advancing over Serbia 68-54. Final score in today's matchup between these two sides. Looking over the notable names and box scores today, Sylvia Dominguez 10 points, Albin Torrens 14, Marta Chagre with 6. And Ana Cruz with 6, and Astrid Nador with 14 points for Spain in their victory. And notably, for the Serbian side today, Sonja Petrovic with 12 points, Jelena Malovanovic with 10, and Ana Davovic held to 8 points, and her sister Malika held scoreless in today's game. So, Shorty, again, like we talked about for the latter part of maybe our Olympic conversation yesterday, again, pretty much how both these teams were not really favored or were not really supposed to be here. But again, they got here again, taking down two, pretty much bigger and better teams, I guess. But short again, Spain comes out again with a 20-9 first quarter, which I think did Serbia in again, getting behind by 11 points and to start the game off in the first quarter. Turned it around for a bit, but again, never really got going in this game up until. Again, they faltered again, 68-54. Shorty, final takeaway from Spain advancing to the gold medal game tomorrow.
Well, I did say last night, that the score could go either way, but ultimately, I guess it broke my heart a little bit because I was rooting for Serbia to advance, but, at least they'll make it to the bronze game. And just for Serbia, they were just all out of sorts. I caught the game by the third quarter, and pretty much you could tell it was over for them, even though the game wasn't over. They were just throwing everything at the hoop. They would throw Crystal if they had her. That's just how discombobulated they were, And even though Spain also late in the third and I would say early fourth had their scoring droughts as well, but they had built up, a big, at least comfortable lead to where, it was pretty much out of reach. And then the stats reflect that only 35% for Serbia, 50% for Spain. So, they was coming out, hot in the earlier going, and Serbia just couldn't match the same.
Crystal, I agree with Shorty in the fact that not throwing you towards the hoop, but throwing everything but the kitchen sink towards the basket is probably the story of the game for Serbia. Again, they dig themselves a 11-point hole in the first quarter, seemed to bounce back at halftime, but again, then they let Spain again beat them in the third quarter, 20-10. So again, it's 2 quarters there where there's a huge influx of scoring not going their way, and again, like Shorty said again, pretty much throwing up everything at the hoop again, and just kind of hoping for it to go in. They did shoot 83% from the free throw line, which was the best percentage for them from shooting the ball. But again, they were 16% from beyond the arc and 34.5 from the field today, and only had 11 assists on their baskets, and also had 13 turnovers. Though 10 steals, I guess, is a pretty big bonus, but again, they did not really sustain a lot. They only led by as many as 2 points. Spain led by as many as 19. And to put in perspective as well, Crystal, again, Serbia led for a whopping 10 seconds in this contest today. Crystal, final takeaway from Spain's victory over Serbia in your mind?
I'm glad they didn't throw me. I don't know if I would have been much help to them at all. I probably would have hit a player, but not a basket. But I think, like I said, Serbia's young in this Olympics. I think once they get the experience, since they've now got the experience, I assume that the next time they are completing the Olympics, maybe 2020, I think they'll be a little bit better. And like you said, no one thought Serbia would even make it to where they are. I think people thought Serbia would be an early exit team, but they proved everyone wrong. They played hard. I mean, they played really hard. That's one thing you have to like about this Serbian team. They played really hard. They played through adversity. Their biggest test was, I want to say, the United States, and we saw how they played them. And I think the USA game was one of the reasons why they were so able to beat Australia and other teams they beat to get there. So I even though I'm not Serbian, I'm proud of how the Serbian team came out and pretty much showed that they could compete with these top Olympic teams.
And as we all said, guys, too, a measuring stick game was that USA loss for Serbia, and you saw how they improved on those mistakes. And again, they upset the Aussies in the previous round. Shorty, that brings me, though, to a point, though, that you had sent out on Twitter in regards to the Spanish side today. Not a big fan, Shorty, I guess, of the post-game circus that had gone on after. Shorty, explain to us, like me, that missed this because I was out and about today with my folks, what gone on, though, and what is your overall takeaway, though, of the post-game reaction to the victory by Spain today?
Yes, about that. Now, others may not disagree, but just personally for me, I wasn't too thrilled with their, post-action. Now, this is Spain's first time, making it to a gold medal game. So, of course, they would be excited. But I just thought, in my opinion, it was way too much. Naturally, you would see that the players are upset, but then coaches are out there. The coaching staff for Spain is all, dancing in a circle and things like that. I'm like, what is this? Like I said, in my opinion, it was way too much because, yes, you guys, made it to the gold medal game for the first time, in your country's history, but you're celebrating the fact that you're going to get drugged and snatched bald by Team USA. So it's just, again, it was too much. And in my opinion, that's the difference between a team that is just happy to be there versus a team that is looking to dominate. And USA, they won today, by a pretty comfortable margin, but they didn't do all the celebrating. Coaches Don Staley and Cheryl Reeve wasn't all dancing in circles and everything because, they understand that, the big game is that gold medal game. So, again, it was just way too much.
Crystal, I know that in the No Fun League, a.k.a. the National Football League, and again, I hate comparing male sports to the WNBA, but again, players are flagged or punished for excessive celebration after scoring a touchdown or what may go on the sidelines. But again, Crystal, I know that, international sports are a different stage and a different spectrum of things, but again, Crystal, okay, maybe a little bit overboard of a celebration. But then again, it is the first time that Spain's going to a gold medal game for women's basketball. But I guess, Crystal, are you in agreement or in disagreement with the Spain side for the post-game antics and circus that went on after the victory today over Serbia?
Well, for one, I, like you, missed it because I left. I had to take care of a few things after the game. But, if it was as bad as it sounds, I could both agree with Shorty and I could also see the side from Spain's standpoint. But at the same time, I was always told to act like you've been there before. Even if you haven't, even if this is your first time getting there, act like you've been there before. I understand Spain has never been there. I understand they may never get back there, but at the same time, you have to look a little professional. I'm not saying you can't celebrate and, pump your fist and say, yeah, whatever. I'm not saying that, but, especially for coaches to do that too. From a coach, you would expect a little bit more professionalism out of them, especially, you're in a national team. And now once you win, if you win, then okay, there's a certain type of celebration you could do, but you still got to keep it classy. But, at the same time, that's just something you don't expect. But, like I said, I can understand because they've never been there, but at the same time, act like you've been there before and don't overdo it.
Yeah, Crystal, I agree with you wholeheartedly in this one. And In a sense, I kind of think back, guys, not just NFL, but in Major League Baseball, the team up in Los Angeles, in your backyard up there, Crystal and Shorty, the Dodgers, of course, were best known for celebrating in the Chase Field swimming pool in Phoenix after they beat the Diamondbacks, win the division title in 2010, I want to say, and they, of course, were ragged out or were pretty much thrown under the bus for their celebration. So, again, act like you've been there before is what I would agree, but, again, in this stage, guys, of course, the Olympic Games are magnified by 10,000 on the exponent chart. So, I guess kind of cut them some slack for this time, I guess, at this point in time. Some comments from the man in the box, Todd Mintz, who says, I could only see the USA game today, much like everyone else. Had the Spain game right and was low scoring. Serbia, France will be a very good game for the bronze. Look like a piece of cake for the USA. We already know what they will do, which is beat them already. The third period in the game, in both games today, where the separation began for both teams by Spain and then the U.S. 54 points is awful. About Dobovic, he says that she played so well for Serbia, scoring earlier in group play, but cooled down her scoring over the last 2 to 3 games. It seemed like she needed to score 20 for them to have a chance to win. And Shorty, he wants to say to you, come on, man. For Spain, it would be a big deal. For the U.S., not so much. You could have mailed in the gold medal for a professional dream team before we played 1 second of these games in his mind. And I think everyone probably already did that, and even as well with the college season too, with the UConn Huskies, of course, with their season this past women's hoop season. Guys, next game, of course, Team USA and France hooking up the rematch from the gold medal game in 2012. Different game for Team USA, held below 100 today. They beat the French, though, regardless, 86-67 in a very, very close first half, guys. But again, like Todd said, a 25-8 third quarter. Case closed. Team USA wins the matchup over France. Notable name for France today, Sandrine Gruda held to 8 points in the loss for France. Across the board for Team USA, again, without Sue Bird with that injured knee she suffered in the last game. Whalen with 5 points. Augustus with 10, Moore with 15, McCotch with 7. Catchings and Stewart both held scoreless tonight in some garbage time minutes. Deladon with 5, Tarasi 18, Fouls 12, Charles 4, Griner 10. Final box right there for Team USA, and again, their biggest lead was 25 points, and they led this game for 36 minutes and 2 seconds. So Shorty, again, by far a different game than what we've seen across group play, quarterfinal matches for Team USA. Again, held under 100 points today for the first time all tournament, but also, again, very, very closely contested first half. But again, like Todd said, though, separation is key in the third quarter. Again, 25-8 USA, pretty much ending this one in the third quarter. Shorty, final thoughts and takeaway from Team USA's victory over France to move on to their 6th consecutive gold medal game.
I mean, I knew pretty much that it was going to be that close because France is definitely one team that aren't, pushovers. They've been here before, unlike teams like Serbia, Japan, and even Turkey. France has been there before. Again, it's not necessarily close, but it is a rematch, for these two teams who met in the gold medal game in London. But just overall, yeah, it was a pretty, close game up until, the second half. Team USA pretty much, blew things over. But, I did bring up this point yesterday, and I said, if Sue Bird was going to be out, with the injury, DT would be that person to run the point. And today she was that player running the point for Team USA. Simone Augustus was injected into the starting lineup, and she played pretty well, had 10 points overall, so she did, good as a starter for Team USA. And just looking at the stats, I mean, they shot 55% overall for Team USA, so they did pretty good there. And I think one of the reasons why the game was closely contested, it was because the 3-point shooting for France shot 31% over USA's 27%. Also, the assists, they were sharing the ball on the French side, 19 to 15 in that area. So, they did, a lot of good things on France's side. It was just too much, from the U.S.
Chris, looking with some more numbers real quick, and Shorty had the 19-15 assist ratio for France. I more so look at two things. 12-7 ratio for France in steals, 3-0 in blocks for France. That one's a little bit alarming to me just because the fact that Team USA has that size in the post area, but also pretty close, guys, 2 points in the paint, 40-36 Team USA. Bench play, though, way better for France, 35-29 as opposed to the 29 for Team USA. Although Team USA, though, also had 20 points off turnovers from France. But I guess, again, Crystal, Shorty and I both brought up that it would probably be another slow start for Team USA, and it would probably be doors blown off by the start of the third quarter, and it was just that again for the American side today. Crystal, final take on Team USA's victory, and again, going to the gold medal game for the 6th straight Olympic Games.
You know what? I was on auntie duty, like I said previously, and I missed that game, but I was keeping up with it, and they were starting off kind of slow, and I was looking at people panicking on my timeline a bit, but, this is so cliche. It's not how you start the game, it's how you finish the game. And, Team USA for the past few games have started off kind of slow, but then they pick it up. As long as they pick it up, I'm okay with it. Hopefully they don't start off too slow against a team that can just keep the pace with them. They should be able to be okay with Spain. I mean, Spain... Hold on, I feel a sneeze coming on. I'm sorry. Sorry, it didn't come. Sorry about that. But they should be able to keep up the pace with Spain. Spain, even though they are pretty new in the Olympics, they are pretty quick, and that's something that the Team USA guards have been dealing with. They're kind of slow because of age and unfortunately a couple of injuries. But from what I was watching for my timeline, people telling me, it was a struggle for Brittany Griner today. From what they were saying, Brittany Griner was not doing so well. I think Griner's woes continue, but I'm glad they got the win. I'm glad they pulled it off, and they showed a lot of heart finishing the game today.
Again, folks, to recap, semifinal final scores: Spain over Serbia, 68-54. Team USA over France, 86-67, to advance to their 6th consecutive Olympic gold medal game. Setting the stage, guys, for Saturday. I misspoke. Off day tomorrow. Games on Saturday. Before we get to that real quick, a quick comment from Todd Mintz, who says on France, he says, I thought they gave a terrific effort. The USA, I felt, was slow to start to react on defense, and France deserves some credit. The zone definitely slowed down the U.S. side. Only a 4-point game at halftime break in his mind. So again, folks, setting the stage for all the marbles on Saturday. Again, off day Friday. And then the last 2 games for the Olympic basketball event on Saturday once more. France and Serbia will play for 3rd place and bronze medal, 7:30 a.m. local time in Rio, and a 11:30 a.m. start time for all the marbles, the gold and silver medals. USA and Spain, 11:30 a.m. start for both, or for that game at least. And as of right now, the game will either be shown on either NBC or NBCSN. One more thought from Todd Mintz about Team USA. He says Maya Moore and DT were basically saved the USA from possibly being down at the half. The little point guard from France is a warrior, and she played great, ending his comment. With that, though, Shorty and Crystal, thoughts, Shorty, first for the 3rd place game and who you got winning, France or Serbia, and why?
I'm going with France. I just think their overall experience, knowledge, and their veteran presence will overwhelm Serbia, even though Serbia knows how to combat that. They did the same thing against Australia, so you never know. But I'm just going with the veteran leadership of France.
One vote for France. Crystal, what do you think?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, because it's something Shorty just said. I wouldn't be surprised if Serbia was able to say they were down and then came back and beat France. I mean, we've seen it happen before. Not exactly with these 2 teams, but we've seen it happen before. I want to say France because they're the veteran team, but I think because of Serbia's scrappiness, they might make the game close and might possibly win by like 2 points. So I'm going to say Serbia.
I will go with Shorty and say France. I think with what we've seen from France in this tournament again, with how they've played so far again, guys, and once more, they played very well, and I think that, again, perhaps that with Serbia still being a little bit on the experience part, I'll take France, not by a big margin. And, of course, guys, gold medal game, 11:30 a.m. local time in Rio. Of course, Team USA in Spain. Shorty, give us the final margin of victory.
Well, my USA rag says at least plus 20.
All right, so Shorty's going to go USA by 20. Crystal, what do you think about margin of victory?
Well, Essence Carton's magical fedora is telling me that USA is going to win. I'll say probably about like 20 to 23. Yeah, I'll agree with Shorty's USA rag.
We'll all pick both Essence Carson's fedora and Shorty's rag, but I'll go USA 25, plus 25 for the victory on Saturday. But again, folks, for all the marbles, again, over the weekend, France and Serbia, 7:30 a.m. local time down there in Rio de Janeiro, 11:30 a.m. start time for the gold medal game, USA Spain, to wrap up 2016 Rio Olympic women's basketball in this year's Olympics. Guys, some WNBA news reported today and confirmed by the New York Liberty. September 7th will be Swin Cash's official retirement game, so to speak, of sorts at MSG on September the 7th. Again, it's going to be a Wednesday night game when they host a, don't even have to sit up for a minute, they will host a game at 7 o'clock Eastern Time for Swin Cash's kind of, somewhat of a farewell game. But sure, there is the postseason, though, right now for New York still in play. Again, Shorty, when I think about Swin Cash, I think about obviously, a player from the UConn umbrella that again really took, not only that kind of, that of course took that program to a, another level, of course, in the late 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Then I think about, of course, Detroit and those three title teams that she was a part, or those two teams that she was a part of in Detroit when they went worst to first in 2003, and then of course in 2006 when they had also won the title there. Going to Seattle, winning a title there as well when she was with the Storm. And then, her days in Chicago weren't a whole lot there. Went to Atlanta for a bit, then went to New York under Coach Bill Laimbeer again. And what she's meant, though, I think, for the entire game of women's basketball in regards to, putting people in their places on social media when they come after the league or the sport, which she's been doing right now in Rio with NBC and calling the games down there, plus work with ESPN and CBS Sports Network. Shorty, what are your thoughts, I guess, about this, somewhat of a early kind of retirement ceremony for Swin Cash coming up next month on September the 7th?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it was early, but I'll just say, it was just right for her. I was wondering if they would hold at least something for her because she didn't have, time to really announce, a retirement tour a la Tamika Catchings. So, I was wondering if they would at least put something together near the final games in regulation, and having the retirement game will definitely be big for her. She earned it. She has done so much throughout her career, as you said, from the college level to WNBA, and also at the Olympic level as well. Winning in 2012, with Team USA. So it'll definitely be big for her.
Again, Crystal, Swin Cash again will joins Candace Wiggins, Tamika Catchings, and joins Wiggins, Catchings, Lauren Jackson, as notably as the three players that already have called it quits this season, and also with Penny Taylor. So it's four players actually that are now a part of the list again. That's been growing since March of this year with players retiring. So I guess, Crystal, your final thoughts again about the Liberty sort of in some way giving Swin Cash a minor bit of a little farewell tour, more sort of kind of a farewell regular season games. Again, the playoffs right now for the Liberty still in the picture right now for this year.
I think she deserves it. She's had a pretty successful career. She's won gold medals. She's won championships. I think, the Pippen Promise careers when she was in Detroit, I think that's what people, especially me, I think I remember Swin Cash for her Detroit days and some of her Seattle Storm days, but mostly Detroit days, like you said, the worst of first season. It was just her grit, her tenacity, and Sue, look at me, thinking ahead. I meant to say Swin Cash. Swin Cash. Swin Cash would definitely be missed. But I think we'll be seeing her around, especially since she wants to be an analyst. I don't think she's going to be too far from basketball at all.
Man, oh man, if you can imagine right now, folks, for our friends that are Liberty fans watching us right now at 1 o'clock in the morning back east, can you imagine a Mike Crispino, Rosgold Onwude, and Swin Cash team on MSG? That would be dynamite. I would tune in on League Pass every time I got a chance, guys. We did, of course, guys, we did though run a poll question though this evening, somewhat of a last-minute effort on my part, but again, we asked though to our great followers on Twitter and friends on Facebook. Who do you think we or who would you most like to see us reach out to for them to make a future appearance on the network? Again, we had LaChina Robinson, Rebecca Lobo, Carol Lawson, and Ryan Rucco. Out of the 10 voters we had, guys, 75% agree with me. They said, got to be LaChina Robinson, Carol Lawson pick up 25%. Nobody, sadly, voted for Rebecca or Ryan Rucco. So, again, sure, I know we talked about this last time, but, again, there was an email put out to LaChina, of course, but I believe, though, that she may or may not be able to join us probably on our Sing That Preview show. But again, Shorty, you know, I pretty much picked 4 people off the top of my head that I think would be very good. But again, Shorty, the people have spoken, though. Do you agree?
I definitely agree. Now, all those names that you put in the poll are definitely big names, and definitely have a lot of knowledge of women's basketball. But just LaChina Robinson, I mean, it would be so awesome if she could, be a guest on the show. My goodness, I wouldn't turn into a fangirl, but my goodness, I would love if she would come on this network.
You know, Crystal, sadly with the Olympic Games, we've kind of been broken records. We talked about, a lot of the Olympic game events going on, and then we've kind of brought this up too the past couple of days in the North. But again, Crystal, again, I picked 4 pretty quality people off the top of my head from ESPN that I think would be wonderful to come on here, of course, with LaChina and her podcast on ESPNW and the Pod Center there with ESPN.com. Perfect asset for us, but again, she wins the poll by a landslide over everybody else. But also, Carol Lawson got a couple votes too. But again, Crystal, any thoughts again about the winner of this poll again being LaChina Robinson?
Well, you know what? I was one of the few that voted for Carol Lawson. I'm a pretty big Carol Lawson fan. I have no hate towards LaChina Robinson because I like LaChina too. She's very knowledgeable. Like Shorty said, you picked knowledgeable people to be or to try to reach out to. I, for one, picked Carol, though, because, Carol Lawson in Sacramento, that was, like, the greatest player ever for me. That was, like, my Don Staley then. And y'all know how much of a Don Staley fan I am. So, like, for me to say that about Carol Lawson at the time was what Chrissy Tolliver is to me now and what Don Staley would forever be to me. So, but, yeah, I like LaChina Robinson. I mean, I think she really knows the game. She sees the game every day. She watches the game every day, and I think that would be a pretty awesome choice.
A couple comments, guys, I missed from our good pal Christy Wilson, who chimed in about Swin Cash and retirement. She says, going to miss Swin, by far one of my favorite players. Remember her days with Detroit, like we talked about, of course, that was the first season in 2003. But again, folks, for those of you that voted, thanks for joining in and voting in our poll question. We're trying our best, folks, to work in more and more poll questions about random topics or about the league. Again, so look out for those questions of the night. Again, where you can vote on Twitter at our Twitter handle at WNBA 365 and chime in and let your voice be heard on our poll. But Shorty, though, I kind of think though that maybe we should have Eric talk to one of our favorite players one of our favorite players that follow us, Imani Boyette, of course, who had the 20 for 50 cent campaign this year about. What do we have to do probably to get LaChina part of our network? I guess for one night, Shorty. Should we have Eric talk to Imani about this?
Yes, I would tell Eric definitely go for it.
Crystal, would you be in compliance? Because we know that you have some history with Imani in your playing days back many years ago. But what do you think?
I mean, Imani's cool. I think she would. I think she wouldn't mind. She's a really nice person. If she's not busy and she's able to do it, I think she should do it. So yeah, like Shorty said, give it a go.
We'll work on that campaign off air, guys. With that though, folks, thanks for stopping by and joining us here tonight. But again, thanks again to everyone that voted again. But we will again try our best to reach out to again I think everyone amongst our panel, amongst all of the fan base, we adore and admire LaChina's work, of course, with the WNBA and her podcast. But again, we will try our best to get her involved with us for our preview show, or maybe sometime in the future, sometime down the road. But again, folks, thank you, like normal, again, for stopping by and joining us. We will be back, though, on tomorrow night, folks. This is kind of an off day, but we'll be back, though, regardless, to talk more about our preview show and what we have heard. And again, we'll talk a bit more about that, plus get you, again, set up, though, for Saturday's action with the gold medal and bronze medal games. So we'll see you folks back here mañana on Friday night, folks. But until then, folks, for Crystal Thomas up in Los Angeles, also with Shorty Mamba 24, T. Stewart also up in Los Angeles. This is Kyle McClurg from Studio 171 in San Diego, calling it a night. We'll be back and see you folks back here tomorrow night on Friday for a funky, fresh, Freaky Friday edition of the WNBA 365 Network. Folks, take care and good night. And thanks for joining my folks. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.